Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coffee with Craig show. We'll be talking about commercial real estate in Central and Eastern Europe. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of the Coffee with Craig show. I'm here with Piotr Rusinek, Head of Project Development and Consulting at BNP Paribas Real Estate Poland. So Piotr, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the
Craig.
Coffee with Craig show.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, it's great to see you. Great to see you here.
Thank you.
And I know, tell us a little bit. So let's start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your last 2 years at P&B.
Okay, well, I came over to Poland about 26 years ago. Started off doing project management. Worked for a number of companies, mainly with Arcadis, where I was there for quite a long time.
Okay.
And after a while, I kind of needed a new challenge and start from zero. So the opportunity came up with BNP Paribas, and they had a good reputation, and I felt that their profile fitted with my profile in regards to taking on difficult but challenging projects. So I took the jump, and here I am.
Right. Because P&B never really did project management before you came, as from what I remember. There wasn't really a department here, right?
No, they didn't. But the decision was made that they really needed it. Especially office clients and other clients expected that kind of a service.
Right.
So it was a thing they needed to do.
And you have a lot of experience in that sector, and people trust you as well personally and business-wise to kind of go ahead with this. Well, you know, how do you see, let's say now, how do you see the market now for project management and repositioning this kind of part of the business?
Okay, the repositioning is becoming more and more important, mainly because there is, shall we say, a shortage of land in the central business district. The buildings are in good locations. New building would take 3 to 7 years to realise because you've got to get the permitting done,
right?
The land purchase, etc. With an existing building, if you're just repositioning it, you can shorten that period down to 18 months to 3 years, depending on how deep you do the repositioning.
Right, but a lot quicker.
Yes. Although most of buildings have MEP installations on their last legs, so obviously, you know, a lot of them will now need deep refurbishment to compete with the new Class A office buildings, which have kind of come up in the CBD.
Yeah, they've popped up, and there are a lot more amenities, a lot more, let's say, interesting and new kind of requirements that the new ones have that the old ones need to now put into place, I would imagine.
They do, but I mean, it also depends on the kind of building. So I mean, the options you have is a light touch, where you just do the foyers, the communication areas, and wayfinding and that kind of thing, and then get new tenants in and maybe sell off the building.
Right.
Although having said that, we've seen that funds are getting a bit more interested in, shall we say, what potential costs they may face after they take the building over. So the light touch may not be suitable anymore, especially on the older buildings. Then we get the kind of rebrands, which are a bit more ambitious. So you change the perception of the building, you change of the facade, the amenities, etc., just to attract tenants, retain them. And then you have the really deep refurbishment. And this is where I think a lot of the older buildings will be going in that direction, where it'll be a total strip out of the existing, shall we say, MEP installations, etc., to meet the new requirement. And there could also be some change of use.
Right. So this is really where the market's heading, is what you're saying. A lot of big changes, and investors have to know what's going on, because the old days, they would just keep the leases, and they had leases 5-10 years, and I think that a little bit of that's changed now, right?
Yes, it's changed. I mean, you know, the main changes are basically the new A-class office buildings, which are obviously being built. So even if you look at the Jana Pawła 2, where you've got Q22, you've got Strabag, which want to demolish and build a new office tower with a hotel.
Right.
All those other buildings along that street are going to face stiff competition. So the question is, what are the owners going to do with those buildings? Right. Are they going to reposition them? If so, how deep do they go in with the repositioning? The other thing is obviously EU law and local law. So embodied carbon, taxonomy, green certificates. That is also going to have an impact on existing office buildings. ESG, COVID-resistant, pathogen-resistant buildings.
Right,
Those buildings were never designed to take into account the kind of things we're seeing now. So again, a lot of thought needs to be taken in how do we attract and keep our tenants.
So what is, let's say someone's calling you from one of the older even older, they're not that much older, but let's say even 10 years ago when no one even heard of ESG, for example. What is some of the first things you're telling new clients? What can you tell some potential new clients that have got an older building, they don't know what to do? How would you lead them down the path here to success?
Okay, well, basically it needs early consultation, collaboration. So basically talk to their asset managers, leasing, facility managers, obviously with the brokers, because they will ultimately have to sell the building. And obviously the architects and PMs on the methods which you will use to refurbish the building. So the decision needs to be made. Are you going to really do the deep refurbishment, provide new restaurants with a wider offer, a bank or other facility, health clubs? A lot of people now are thinking of including flex and co-working spaces within existing office buildings because tenants' requirements are going to be changing. And they will want to minimize the office space they have, but they may sometimes need overflow when they've got special projects or whatever. And town hall areas where people can meet, have meetings, discuss, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of items which really need to be considered in realizing a new project.
Right. And I would imagine even the buildings that are under construction now, how would you rate them, or what do you see as far as issues that they're going to even have coming up with? I'm sure things are changing so much. If they don't make changes to the design as it's being built, it might become dated even when it opens.
I think the main things will be all the kind of information technology. So basically, you can touch your mobile phone and you can enter the building,
right?
Rather than an access card. The same with the lift, so you don't touch anything.
Right.
It's, obviously, the circulation around buildings and the air conditioning systems. I think recuperated air, etc. Great for like saving energy, but people want now the air to come from fresh air.
Right. Saving energy is great, but better to not get COVID. It started with COVID, but there's probably other things in the future. Yeah,
there will be most probably, and obviously COVID is here to stay for quite a while because we're seeing people are not getting their injections. So we're going to have outbreaks of COVID, and they're going to have to be controlled. I don't think it's going to stop businesses as it did at the beginning, but the environment will have to be more controlled. So that people will feel safe coming back into the office.
Right. And with IT, of course, you can just, like they do at the airport, scan, okay, they've been vaccinated, let them in. Type of, I guess, services coming down the pipeline, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Piotr, we're going to wrap up this session because we're getting to the last minute we have. Please give us any, and we'll come back with another session to talk about some of the case studies that we have. But just give us any kind of last minute pearls of wisdom for, let's say, new investors or investors already have some buildings, developers that you see, maybe some specific things that you would like to get across to them.
Okay, I mean, basically, if you are coming in or if you're an existing fund and you have an existing building, if you want to kind of upgrade it, you really need to know roughly what kind of tenant you're aiming at. Do you want to convert it into a Class A office building? Do you want to keep it as more of a Class B office building? Obviously lower rental value, but if you could still fill the building in and then subsequently plan your exit or plan the repositioning for later on.
Right.
A lot depends on where the market is going. So obviously you need to look at it in more of a complex matter and consult with the agents.
So all planning for the future.
Exactly.
Okay, well, Piotr, thank you very much. And for everyone that's viewing us and for Coffee with Craig, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we will see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Click here to subscribe to the Coffee with Craig show, and don't forget to share it with your friends.